Okay, YouTubers, this is my review of the Sturdy Safe 3627 that I just got in. I'm going to start out by talking about customer service and then moving into the house and what my first impressions are. I got it in yesterday. I first decided to get a Sturdy Safe because I started going online and reading about safes and watching people break into a lot of the cheaper gun safes that are out there. And started doing some research and comparing thickness of steel, and Sturdy Safe kind of came up on top as far as for price is concerned. I wanted something that could not only stop just an unexperienced burglar, but somebody that came in with some pry bars and tools and stuff like that. And Sturdy seemed to fit the bill. And the other thing that I like about them is that they're a family-run business and everything's American-made. So I started looking around for safes and started emailing them actually when I was overseas, and the price for this at the time was $200 or $300 lower for the 3627 than what it currently is. When I got back stateside, I actually emailed and did most of my correspondence with them over Facebook, and I believe her name was Alyssa, the owner's daughter, I think, was the individual that I was corresponding with. And she honored the price quote for the options that I wanted that were 3 or 4 months earlier. So they stick to their word, and that's worth a lot. I went ahead and ordered it, and the only additional option that I got was the fire lining. Everything else is stock on it, and was going to have it delivered. And it's hard for me to take time off work. So they called me. The way that the delivery works is that they're going to call you and say, okay, this is a projected delivery date. And then with the projected delivery date, they release it to the company that delivers it, and then that company will call you once it hits a port. So I'm in Louisiana right now at Fort Polk. So it shipped from California to its release point was Orange, Texas. Once it got to Orange, Texas, they were going to call and say, okay, we will deliver it the next day. Well, the delivery date was a little bit off. It was supposed to hit the port on Thursday, get delivered here on Friday, and it actually didn't hit until, I want to say, like Friday morning at 05 in the morning. So I worked with the freight carrier and called them over and over again and got them to change the delivery date to Friday, and we'll keep it there because it wouldn't have hit until Monday. That was a little bit of a pain in the ass. The delivery company transfers you from San Francisco, which is their base, down to Houston, which is their regional, down to Orange, or down to Beaumont, and then down to Orange, Texas. And that's a transfer after a transfer after a transfer, sitting on hold, explaining your story over and over again. That's no fault of Sturdy Safes. That was just me not being able to change the delivery date. Had I been able to take Monday off of work instead of Friday, they would have just called me on Friday and said, hey, it got here at 05, can we deliver on Monday? Wouldn't have been a problem. But if it's hard for you to take time off work, just expect that to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Alright, so this safe, and if I'm not mistaken, it's around 1,000 pounds, maybe 1,100, was dropped off. I had them drop it off right at the door, and it is 3627, meaning it's 36 inches from one side to the other side, and then it's 27 inches deep. So what I had them do is I had them drop it off with this side right here facing the door, because that will fit through a standard door, and I had them push the pallet as close to the lip as possible. That way when I rocked it off the pallet, I wouldn't have to lift it up and over the lip. Sorry for the camera angles, it's a small room and it's kind of hard to get everything in. Now, Sturdy Safe has a couple things they tell you to do. They'll send you an extensive list of things to do when the safe gets here. Well, not really extensive, but open it up and show that there's the handle wiggles back and forth. Don't turn the dial until it's open in case you lock yourself out, but just inspect the safe before signing off on it. And I did, and the driver was impatient and wanted to go because he had more deliveries, but I mean, it's a $2,600 safe. He can wait. Took care of all that. Driver took off. I unbanded it and went to work opening up the door. There are instructions on how to open up the door and how to work the lock. Read it, because it's not like a standard master lock combination. If you don't hit the number dead on, it won't open, and it actually turns in the opposite direction. It goes left, right, left, and then back or right. Now, I didn't read the instructions. I went the correct direction, but I didn't realize that you had to go back to the right after your last number until it fully stops. Once I read that, it opens like a charm. Now, moving it in. I actually moved the safe from one side of the house to another. Did not have to go upstairs, but I did have to take it through a narrow hallway and make a 90-degree angle turn. And I did that with myself, and I'm 180 pounds, bench 245, not really that strong of a dude compared to some other people, and my wife, that's like 115 pounds. And the way that we did that is we followed the advice on the on 2 YouTube videos, the Sturdy Safe How to Get It Off a Pallet video, and there's another video, How to Move a Safe, and it's a single guy pushing a safe into a garage. I'll link both of those in this video. But in essence, we just rocked it how Sturdy Safe recommends it towards the door, pushed rollers underneath it, put it on rollers, and pushed it. The hardest part was getting the safe. That moved it all the way through the house in like 5 minutes, 2 people. The hardest part was getting the safe off the last roller. And the way that I recommend doing that is put another roller under it. So there are 2 rollers, only leave your second roller sticking like halfway out. That will allow enough gap to pull the roller that's fully underneath it out, and then you can just yank that one out or hammer it out. What I did do, because I had these fake hardwood floors so it didn't chip it, is you'll have pieces of felt that come to guard the banding. I put that underneath it so as soon as it dropped, it wouldn't drop directly on the floor. And actually with these pieces of felt, you can push the safe around a little bit, as I'm doing right now, without scratching up your floors. That being said, ideally it's bolted down. I'm in a rental house. I'm going to be moving very shortly. I'm not going to take the time to bolt it down. Alright, so let's get on to the safe review. One more thing with delivery. When I was looking over, the only thing, I don't know if you could really see it, is this scratch right here. It's about how big it is. That was the only damage done to it. Contacted Sturdy Safe. She said awesome. No worries, and if she's going to send out some touch-up paint. And there's a video on YouTube as well of how to touch up stuff. So, first impressions. All the welds on the safe are actually really, really good. Everything's really solid. The color I was worried about, because on their Facebook page they have nothing with the new color, and that's what this is. This isn't a custom color, it's the new one that replaced the gray that you'll see on their Facebook page. So I haven't seen any videos. I was kind of worried about it and didn't know if it would be aesthetically pleasing or not. And I haven't seen the gray ones in person, but I actually like these. It's not the prettiest safe in the world, but it works. Alright, so we're going to go with door gap first, I guess. So this is just a piece of cardboard, a standard ammo thing. We'll take the side. If you notice, it will barely fit in there around the edge. So the door gap is tiny. I'll push it in, but it'll almost hold it up. A standard credit card won't go in there. We'll use the edge off of a stripper clip. Won't go in there either. So when you're talking door gap, now a lot of that is just the lip. When you're talking door gap, there's definitely not enough room in there for a tool to get in. Some of the reviews are complaining about the handle moving back and forth, and that's all the play you're going to get out of it, about an inch. To me, it doesn't feel like it's cheap. It just feels like it's an entire mechanical linkage, and that's going to have a little bit of play in it when it's down. As far as the construction, everything about it feels super solid. So you can see the thickness of the door. One of my concerns is the fire lining, the door seals. I'm not horribly familiar with this type of seal and how it's supposed to expand in a fire. And over 20 or 30 years, I can see that starting to come off, but that's an easy fix. You can always buy caulk and recaulk it. You have 4 standard bolts on the door, 2 fixed bolts, and I'm not ever going to change the combo, but it does come with a change key. But you have 2 fixed bolts on the inside, and then your metal up there. As far as I can tell, and from what I've compared this safe to other Liberties and the Fort Knox safes that are within my price range, which this is the top of my price range, but this has more steel and feels significantly more solid. There's no bend to the door and everything. Alright, now for the bad. The only thing that I could really critique on this is the interior, and it was a known factor when I bought it, is that it's not going to have a sexy interior like some of the Liberty safes do. It doesn't come with LED lighting, there's no door panel and stuff like that on it, but to me it's not a huge deal. There are 2 things that I'm going to alter on here. Well, one thing and then one thing that was truly disappointing. First thing is that your carpet down at the bottom isn't glued down. I mean, it's going to shift around and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's carpet. Rifles aren't going to get nicked up, but it'd be nice for it to be glued down. That way when I shift a rifle back and forth, that doesn't shift as well. So I'm going to, and then it'll bunch up if it moves around like that. I am going to just glue it down and call it good. The other thing is on these shelves. So if you get the standard interior, what you get is and I didn't know, but it's actually a metal gun rack. And it'll hold, I'm not sure how many slots it has. And sorry for the lighting, but it is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 30. It'll hold 30 if you take that rack that the cameras are on off. That being said, all the other ones utilize these little brackets, and it's hard to see. I'll pull one out in a second. But these little brackets, some of them are a little warped, so when you put the shelf on, if there's no weight on it, you have a little bit of wiggle. Yet again, I don't plan on putting that much stuff on it, but that's what it's supported with, these little brackets, and you can see that there's a little bit of a warp in there. That was my only see, and you can see it on this one too. That was my only complaint with the interior. But I have a firebox in here for all my paperwork and family pictures that I'll never be able to get back if there's a fire. And then my weapons in here, but other than that, I don't see putting a lot of ammo and stuff on those shelves or a lot of weight, so it's a non-issue. And I'm sure I'm going to get comments or critiques about putting ammo in a gun safe, but if you look at the flash point of ammunition and the burning point of paper and stuff like that, the flash point of ammunition is significantly higher. So by the time those rounds start cooking off, everything else in the safe's already destroyed anyway. Other than that, there's not much more to speak to. I've seen a couple of reviews. One guy said that a Mosin Nagant 9130 will not fit in a 60-inch sturdy safe. That's not true. This is a Mosin Nagant 9130, and it will not fit in the safe, as you can see, with this top shelf at its current setting, which is the standard setting. You could raise it up, or you could cut a hole in the shelf, or you could do what I do, and I just stick it in the corner right there, and it stays in there fine, and you can close the door and it doesn't affect the bolt. It just doesn't fit into the rack system, but it doesn't have to fit in the rack system because it sits there. So if you have a 9130, that was a sticking point when I ordered the safe. I was kind of worried about it because part of this is to secure guns from children and stuff like that. What I was going to do is just take the bolt out, throw the bolt in the safe, rendering the rifle useless, and I mean, it's a 9130, so if it gets stolen, it gets stolen. But after looking at it, it fits fine in the corner. So just for a frame of reference, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long guns in there, and I know it's hard to see. Out of the 6, 3 of them are scoped, and I still have that much room. It was actually a little bit bigger of a safe than what I thought it was going to be. When it closes, you can feel that it closes solid, and when you lock it, you still have a little bit of play, but it's a solid safe. Overall, for the price and compared to other companies, it really does feel like a solid safe. And I would recommend it, and even more so, you're supporting an American family and 100% American-made product. I'm not sure how many people they employ. I tried to read the data on Sturdy Safe. I know that their biggest competitor, what is it, the BF series of America Safe or something like that, I looked at as well. And this is a much smaller company. And American Security AMSEC Safes, the BF series. And I actually went out and felt a BF series, and their composite door and their siding just didn't feel as strong. Now, if you read about them, they say that it's, what is it, outside, for their door outside is thin steel, then fire protection, and then their money on their door is the inside layer, so you can't necessarily feel it, but it just didn't feel as quality as what the safe does. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments, and hope this helped make up your mind on a safe if you're looking for one.